Hello everybody, welcome back to Aurelia. For the past few episodes, we have been setting up Aurelia's industrial area. It included the dam and the first industrial zone. If you missed those episodes, definitely go and check those out. We provided a lot of jobs with all these buildings, and for now it should be enough, so we can go back into the main city and start expanding it, start increasing its population so that we have actually workers to work in the industrial zone. Today, we will take a look at this place right at the side of the pond next to the main train station building. This place is definitely going to heavily favor residential buildings with some offices and shops next to the main street. So let's go build it. So as you can see, we are already in the time-lapse section of the video. So we had some kind of a loose ends here from some past episodes where we have been actually setting up the pond for the first time as well, because we never finished this side of the pond, and we have never finished even this this little plaza in there and stuff like that. So this place is definitely going to kind of tie it up a bit, but not completely, because we still need to expand in the direction like continuation from the pond, I suppose, but that's kind of going to be like well in the future. So right here, I kind of decided that I don't really want to do like a very dense structures, meaning that I don't really want to put buildings everywhere on the ground, and just go for some high-rise buildings like these ones. I think these are the collection, the buildings from the Russian buildings collection. I use them all the time in the city. I mean, various buildings from that collection. They look really great. And for this place, they really felt good. And they are very even friendly for like clipping them together, so you can maybe create some interesting blocks and stuff like that. So we are also right next to the main train station, which means that we need to do something about the railroads going from the train station. We obviously have 4 different railroads, so we need to take care of all of them. Also, the railroads are elevated above the ground, so I kind of took some opportunity here and built a parking lot right underneath the railroad. And the parking lot is actually there. It's not just like a road, a dead-end road that goes somewhere underground. There actually is a parking lot underneath those rails. There is a parking lot road, the one that you can download from the workshop. So this place was really straightforward. I just put, I think, 3 of those high-rise residential buildings, and then put all these stone walkways or walk paths around them. I don't think I have banned traffic on these roads. I kind of don't really want to do that. I think I only banned the personal cars in here, and obviously no services, because the buildings would complain about that. I think that later I will actually put the small ollie buses on these paths, because it might actually look interesting, but I haven't done that yet. I will try it in the future. Maybe it's not going to be that great. So back to the railroad. Actually, we have been doing, from the point of view of the train station, the railroad that's on the far left is going to be going on the surface, or kind of elevated and on the surface, and it's going to continue towards, it's going to go parallel to the pond, and the ponds are obviously going to be a bit more like expanded, and there's going to be some train stations there as well. And the 2 railroads in the center, those are going to be going underground already from that train station building. And as you can see, I've been building some kind of a concrete portal for those. I will actually go back to it later, because I didn't really like the shape that I did there. And the far right entrance into the underground for the railroad is actually going to be a railroad that we're going to see in a couple of episodes, because we are going to be kind of expanding the city in that direction. Now we're in the train station area, kind of, and in here I really wanted to build something that would be kind of over the main train station building, definitely over the rounded roof of the platform structure, I suppose, and maybe even over the rest of the train station as well. And that's exactly what I did here. I had a very like a favorable terrain features in here already, where the main street that's in the screen right now is actually going very high. So that kind of felt really good for some kind of like a multi-level solution. Again, we have been doing that quite a lot in the city. If you remember, for example, the Residential Hive project. So that definitely felt really, really good. Now, the train station building doesn't exactly fit this block all that well. So what I did here is I actually took one portion of the train station, because this train station building is actually made up from many different buildings, and you can actually take one, which is basically like the center portion of it, and convert it into procedural objects. That's exactly what I did here, and make it just exactly fit in those blocks. It's going to be much more visible in the cinematics exactly how I did it, and turned out really, really great. Now, obviously the problem with City Skylines buildings, even the workshop buildings and all those, is that, you know, they don't exactly feel like real life, because in real life you usually design stuff, or you design buildings so they fit exactly one location. So if you have like a corner between two streets, and the corner is like, I don't know, 34 degrees, you know, the building is probably going to have, you know, walls angled exactly like that as well. Now, obviously, there are no buildings for those particular angles in City Skylines. You're kind of lucky to get like corner buildings for, you know, 45 degrees or 30 or something like that. But highly customized buildings, obviously not so much, because, you know, you probably need to make a model and textures for, you know, every building, and that's kind of a different level of City Skylines playthrough, I suppose. So it always feels really nice when someone does in some playthroughs and something like that, like a building that perfectly fits some location. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with the train station as well. I kind of spent a long time talking about the train station, but we are already past that. And we are actually redoing the tunnel portals in here, the concrete portals. Like I said, didn't exactly like the shape for the two center railroads, and actually redid it. As you could have seen, I actually took a asphalt, like a plate, and put it angled in there so I could exactly match the shape of the portal. Now, it's not exactly the perfect looking portal ever. The portals usually for the railroad tunnels are a bit different, but, you know, it's not exactly all that easy to do it in City Skylines. Now, these walk paths over here, they are going to be connecting the residential area that we have been building previously. I mean, just a few minutes ago, the high density, high rise residential buildings, they are going to, people from those buildings could use these walk paths to reach the main street above the train station. And I haven't made it work. I mean, this walk path obviously works, but I haven't really built it just yet in the time lapse here. But there's also going to be a connection to the platforms, down to the platforms to the train station. I haven't made that work just yet, but I really want to in the future. So I'm not sure if it's going to work, if you can just build like a walk path towards a platform and people will go there. I think they will, because for some vanilla stations it actually works like that. So that would be something really great, especially for people, you know, coming from this upper portion of this entire block, let's say. Now, this little area over here actually took me a really long time. It's some sort of a like an exit from that walk path, and it's kind of coupled with this with these stairs going into that residential building. Now, unfortunately, people don't really use it exactly in here. These stairs at the top, they use the stairs on the bottom from the walk path, and again, that kind of took me a long time to set it up so that people would actually walk there. Now, this is something that I also kind of wanted to do. I kind of wanted to overlap that residential area on the top here. I kind of wanted to overlap it over the train station, the platform roof. Now, you can't do it with buildings, obviously, because they have the basement, so it would be visible in the platforms. I still haven't really decided if I really want to do maybe some kind of a first-person train ride, just like I did with Rockdale. So I'm not exactly sure if I want to have places that are not normally visible, you know, actually looking great or not. The tunnel entrances I kind of kept looking all right, even from the inside, kind of, obviously, as it let me, but the train station building, it's a bit more difficult. But later I decided that I'm not going to put any buildings directly over that platform roof, and I'm just going to put like a grass in there, which is just going to be decorated with some, you know, like flowers and just garden props and stuff like that. Now, what I'm doing in here is just like a little mix of buildings on the corner there above the tunnel portals, where the walk path is just going to go into. And obviously I build it so that it fits that place nicely. So we are back in this place. I was just putting the grass over it and doing obviously some kind of an outline with concrete, but it doesn't really need to be concrete. It could have been something else, I suppose. Now we are on the opposite side of that little residential area on the top. And I have to apologize in here. I suppose that the session that I was building this in is kind of missing. I did not record it for some reason, so you could not have seen how I aligned all these office buildings properly into that like, more interesting shape, and those buildings that are above the office buildings. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that they are proper residential buildings. They are not procedural objects, so they actually do work. And this place actually holds a lot of people. Like, a lot of people live in this entire block. Now, on the top of these office buildings, obviously they only have the boring roofs, so I kind of suppose that it's a tradition already that we are putting we are putting grass on the roof almost everywhere. So that's exactly what we did here, and some props like garden props and benches and trees and stuff like that. We are creating like a cafe in here. Down here, I wanted to create like a little outside area for that particular shop, and I used just a pedestrian path like that, like a dead end pedestrian path with those small tables so they could fit there. And this place down here, it obviously only shows the foundation of the office buildings, the brick office buildings, so we had to cover it with something. And unfortunately, this place is kind of tiny, so we had to use procedural objects. I'm kind of making it sound like I don't really want to use procedural objects that much. And when it comes to buildings, that's kind of true, because I obviously want buildings to work. I know that some of you recommended me already that I could probably make like a invisible, just a generic building that people could visit, and I could just place it, where the procedural object is. But it's not really necessary that much, I suppose. It's fine as long as I'm not making like entire blocks only from procedural object buildings. It's probably going to be fine. People are going to be like seen walking around. It's going to be like a live area. Alright, so we are almost coming towards the end of today's video. So as always, there are still going to be some cinematics of this place together with the before and after comparisons. I hope you liked today's episode, guys. We will be staying in this area for the future episode as well, where we will do something a bit more traffic related, so stay tuned for that. If you liked today's episode, leave a like, comment and share, and if you're new here, you can always subscribe to the channel as well as my Twitter. Thank you guys for watching, take care and goodbye.